can be so frustrating if your baby is taking short naps and only napping for about 30 to 45 minutes every single nap time. I'm here to help you troubleshoot those short naps and see what you can do about them to help your baby nap a little bit longer. My name is Amy. I'm a pediatric sleep consultant and the founder of the Postpartum Party, and probably the number one question that I get is regarding short naps. So today I want to help you troubleshoot those short naps and help you have realistic expectations regarding nap time. Before we get started, I want to share my baby sleep schedule calculator with you. If you want an idea of what your baby's sleep could look like, depending on their age and what time they wake up, then grab my free baby sleep schedule calculator in the description box below. You'll input your baby's wake up time and their age, and it will generate a schedule that's appropriate for your baby. The other resource that I have for you is my baby sleep schedule binder. So this has sample sleep and feeding schedules for ages 0 all the way through 4 years old, including their wake windows, when to make nap time transitions, bedtime examples for every age, and how to know when it's time to extend their wake windows. That will get you really set up on establishing a predictable schedule for your baby at each age and stage. Check that out in the description box below as well. The first thing that I want to do is normalize short naps for babies, especially under 7 months of age. Daytime sleep can be extremely tricky for babies under 7 months old, and before this age, babies aren't fully able to sync their sleep cycles. So they may come out of one sleep cycle and struggle going into the next sleep cycle. Baby's sleep cycles are about 20 to 50 minutes, which is why you frequently see your baby waking up within that 30 to 45 minute range. So after 7 months old, your baby will be able to transition out of one sleep cycle and into the next sleep cycle a little bit easier during the daytime, but before 7 months old, this can just be a challenge for some babies. So short naps are common. Before 7 months old, there are some things that you can do, but sometimes it just takes time and development for your baby to be able to link those sleep cycles and take that longer nap. Even though it's developmentally normal for your baby to take short naps before they're around that 7 month mark, there are still some things that we can do to try to troubleshoot those short naps and give your baby the best possible opportunity of sleeping longer stretches. The first thing that I want you to look at if your baby is struggling with short nap is make sure that you're following the right wake windows for their age. A wake window is the amount of time that your baby can be awake in between sleeps. And the reason their wake windows are so important is because if your baby is overtired, they may have a hard time settling down for sleep and staying asleep, leading to a short nap. And if they're undertired, then their sleep pressure isn't going to be as great, and they might just take a short nap to take the edge off, and then they'll wake up feeling super refreshed. I know it can be incredibly frustrating trying to find these optimal wake windows. I do have an entire video about baby wake windows and how to go about finding the right one for your baby, so make sure to check that out. So playing with their wake windows and making sure that you really dial in on the right wake window for your baby can sometimes help lead to longer naps. Sometimes even stretching your baby just 10 or 15 minutes can really help them take that longer nap. Probably the easiest thing that we can do to help encourage a longer nap time is to create a conducive sleep environment for your baby. So we don't always have full control over when our baby will sleep or how long of a nap that they can take, but we do have control over setting up an optimum sleep environment for them. Because they may have trouble connecting those sleep cycles, let's make sure that we rule out any environmental things from waking them up and keeping them from being able to fall back asleep during nap time. This includes creating a dark space in their nursery, so you can use blackout curtains to make sure the room is fully dark for naps. Using a white noise sound machine to make sure that any outside noises don't wake them up in the middle of nap time, and keeping a comfortable temperature in their room and dressing them appropriately for sleep so that they're comfortable during their nap time. Another thing that you can do to help increase the chances of your baby taking a longer nap is to keep your feeds about 30 minutes from sleep. So we want to separate feeds from sleep so that babies don't have the feeding to sleep association. So remember how I said that your baby's sleep cycle lasts about 20 to 50 minutes. If you're feeding them to sleep, then they're most likely going to wake up after one sleep cycle and need the same thing to help them fall back asleep. This is why a lot of babies will need to feed to sleep frequently because they're used to falling asleep with a bottle or their breast in their mouth. So when they wake up, their sleep environment is different. They need that same association to help them fall back asleep. So if you can separate your baby's feeds 30 minutes from when you put them down for the nap, and then they're falling asleep in their crib or their bassinet, then the chances of them being able to fall back asleep since they're in the same environment are going to be much higher. Now, if you've done all of those things, you know that your baby's wake windows are dialed into where they need to be, you have the optimal nursery environment set up, and your baby goes down for sleep on their own in their crib or their bassinet, and you're still struggling with short naps, then I have a couple of options for things that you can do. The first option that you have is that you can go in and help your baby extend their nap time. This may look like a couple of different things depending on what might work best for your baby. Sometimes parents are a little fearful of doing this and they worry that it's going to set up bad sleep habits for your baby. But if your baby is going down for sleep on their own in their crib or their bassinet at nighttime, and for most of the time at nap time, then extending the nap and helping them fall back asleep in the middle of nap time is not going to be detrimental to their overall sleep. You might be able to keep your baby in their sleep space, offer a little bit of assistance to help them fall back asleep, and then let them continue their nap. For some babies, you might be able to extend their nap just by going into their nursery, maybe either replacing the pacifier. You could try doing a firm hand on their chest that might help soothe them. You might be able to do the shush pat, kind of patting their bottom rhythmically to help soothe them back to sleep. If you have the option to, you could go in after your baby wakes up after about 30 minutes or so, and then you could just hold your baby, do a contact nap, and let your baby finish sleeping for another 30 to 60 minutes on your chest if that works for you and your baby. This helps them get the sleep that they need and make sure that their sleep schedule stays on track because they are taking those longer naps. You could also try putting your baby in a baby carrier and going for a walk and letting them finish their nap time that way. Another approach that you can take if your baby is consistently taking short naps is one of the riskier approaches, but it can work. If your baby consistently wakes up, like sometimes I will have parents tell me that their baby always wakes up at the 38-minute mark, right? So if your baby consistently wakes up around the same time for every nap time, then this method can be very effective. So let's say that your baby always wakes up at the 38-minute mark. What you'll do is you'll go in at about the 32-minute mark, so about 5 minutes before they're typically going to come out of that sleep, and you're going to gently rouse them out of sleep just by brushing their cheek or their head. We don't want to get them completely out of their sleep. We just want to let them stir a little bit. And so you'll kind of sneak in the nursery, gently arouse them, and then sneak out, and then cross your fingers that it works. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, honestly. But I have had success with families using this method, especially if their baby predictably wakes up at the same time every time. Another thing that you can do is if all the elements for sleep are spot on and your baby has the skills to put themselves to sleep, is you can practice crib hour. Crib hour is when you leave your baby in their crib for 60 minutes and you give them time and space to fall back asleep on their own. So this will only work if your baby has independent sleep skills, meaning that they can fall asleep initially from an awake state completely on their own. Do not try crib hour if your baby doesn't have the skills to put themselves to sleep. What you'll do for crib hour is put your baby down for their nap. Let's say they wake up at the 30-minute mark. You'll give them time and space to fall back asleep by leaving them in their crib for up to 30 minutes. Sometimes babies will fall asleep, wake up at that 30-minute mark, and then they might fuss, cry, grunt, move around for about 10 to 30 minutes, and then they might fall back asleep after they realize that they're still a little bit tired. You can give your baby up to 30 minutes to see if they will fall back asleep for the rest of their nap. Sometimes this does the trick. And if you're comfortable giving your baby the time and the space to see if they'll fall back asleep, then go ahead and implement this for several days in a row to see if it helps your baby extend their nap time. Sometimes what will happen is the first day or two, it might not do anything. Then your baby might fall asleep by the third day, and then they'll kind of start to extend that nap gradually, and they won't continue to wake up in the middle of their nap time. Not all parents are comfortable giving their babies that time or that space, so do what you're comfortable with in this situation. If you've tried all of these strategies and your baby is under that 7-month mark, then I want you to know that it can just be developmental. I know that it can be so frustrating struggling with those short naps, but sometimes it just takes your baby time and development for them to be able to sync those sleep cycles. If you aren't able to extend their nap using those strategies, then go ahead and just go with the flow and accept the nap time for what it was. So even if your baby takes a 30 or 45-minute nap, you can reset their wake window and continue about your day like so. One thing I don't want you to do is to shorten their next wake window from a short nap, as that can really perpetuate the cycle of short naps. Even if your baby takes a short nap, go ahead and give them a full wake window next so that they have that sleep pressure and will hopefully take a better nap next time. Now, if your baby cannot fall asleep on their own and they either need the breast, the bottle, they're rocked to sleep, and you want to move away from that, then the Baby D.R.E.A.M system can help. This is all the information that I typically give when I work with families one-on-one, and I've put it into a video course format so that you can take it at your own pace and implement the methods for your baby. So it's a step-by-step approach to optimizing your baby's nursery, how to use wake windows and creating the perfect sleep schedule for your baby, the sleep training methods that I recommend based on your baby's age and temperament, and how you can respond to each and every waking so that they do learn how to fall asleep on their own. Go ahead and check that out in the description box below if you're interested. I know short naps can be extremely frustrating, but they are developmental, and it can just take time for your baby to be able to link those sleep cycles. Keep trying, keep track of their schedule, follow those wake windows, teach them how to sleep independently, and eventually those naps will sync and you will get those 90-minute to 2-hour naps that you've been dreaming about. If you have any questions about your baby's sleep, anything that I've covered here, the sleep schedule that's appropriate for your baby, or anything else related to short naps, then go ahead and leave that in the comments below. I hope this has been helpful. Sweet dreams.